Hey you guys, I'm Kayla, and you know me as Sailor Red from the Pop Punk page. Obviously, I'm very southern, and I'll turn this over to Carlos.
Hey you guys, I'm Carlos. I'm Stay Gold, or Stay Gold on the Pop Punk Kids page.
What's up, guys? My name is Rob. I think that I'm the newest one in this collection of people. Okay, cool. This entire podcast for me is going to be an effort in self-censorship and trying not to offend anybody.
I'm Shannon Overboard on the page, and I started Pop Punk Kids about almost 3 years ago now. And I just kind of started it because I was bored, and there wasn't really much of an online presence for pop punk. There's just a lot of really mainstream bands that nobody liked anymore, and I was like, I need a place to hang out with all my friends that like this stuff, and so I created Pop Punk Kids, and here we are.
And we all thank you graciously for it.
Yes, thank y'all so much.
Much blessings.
I don't know how it turned into such a big thing. We're like creeping up on 38,000 now. I don't know how that happened, but okay.
That's mind-blowing to me.
I know. And like, for a while, I wasn't posting so much for a while, and then I just saw likes going up and up and up for no reason. Like, just people started discovering out of nowhere, and I was like, all right, I need to like do something with this. I'm like, I got this page sitting here with all these people on it. Like, it's getting attention, and I'm just doing nothing with it. So I was like, let's do some cool stuff and podcasts, compilations, all the things. Cool stuff.
When I first started this page, or not started, but started on this page.
Don't take credit.
Oh my god. No, when you first invited me into admin, you guys were at 15,000.
Really?
Yeah, so just
we
seeing
were
it
stuck there for
grow-
almost a year.
I remember that, but like just seeing
Yeah.
it grow, it was like, it's crazy because I remember looking in earlier this year. I was like, holy crap, how many likes does this page have?
I know, it's insane.
Incredible. And
it happened like out of nowhere. I don't know how it happened. Like, I remember there was a point where we were up to like almost 17,000, and then it dropped back down to 15,000. I got a notification from Facebook saying that they like removed all inactive Facebook users from the page, and I'm like, we just lost like over 1,000 people, and then here we are now.
Active.
Yeah.
Somehow that happened. And I remember back then, like, even when we had 15,000, like when we had you, we never got like the amount of likes we do now. Like, we had 15,000 likes, but like we'd post something and got maybe like 20 likes tops. Like, I remember when like the big deal, it was like a huge deal if we got 100 likes, and now that's just like every post it like blows out of the water. It's insane.
It's funny, like coming into this whole situation so late. I remember, Shannon, I messaged you like after like the second post that I made for the page or some shit like that, and I was like, this is blowing my mind. Like, metrics say this has reached like 60,000 people. Well, I was like, what in the actual fuck?
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
Whenever I joined, I was pretty active in the group, and then we had Carson, who was part of the men. He was like, you seem really cool, and you're active, and you're a go-getter, so I'm going to add you as an admin, and that's like how I became part of the page.
Yeah, I remember that, and I was like, what are you doing? Because like he was brand new, and he was like adding people. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, why are you adding people that I don't know? Like, what are you doing? But I'm so glad that he did. I'm like, look back at that. I'm like, why was I mad? I'm like, I can't picture the page now without you. But
yeah, I think he added Sammy too. I'm not sure though.
Yeah, that's when I was like, all right, we're gonna do roles. We're gonna do like admin editors. I'm like, people need to know their place, but it all happens. But now we have
learn your place.
we totally dropped like the roles and whatever. Like, oh, you're just an editor. We just dropped that because we all just got so close, and we're all just
one giant dysfunctional pop punk family.
Yes.
Yes, very much.
And everybody's going to find that out real soon.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, our friend Jack, he requested the first question, which, it's the question. Who do you think invented the pop punk genre? That's the roughest one. But you got to get down to it.
I say, man, I mean, the first time pop punk was used as, I mean, as far as I know, the first time that it was used as a term, it was in an article back in the 70s, and it was in reference to the Ramones.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Bands like that, like my dad is like super into all this because he was like super into punk back in the days, and he's just like, he'll sit with me and give me like a 3-hour lecture on pop punk and what this is and whatever, and he'll criticize all the bands I listen to, and this isn't punk, and but he like goes on and on all these different bands, and this started and they influenced this one, and he goes on and on, and I'm like, I only have so much knowledge to that extent. But yeah, I totally agree. But I think pop punk definitely comes in waves. I think there's different eras. I mean, you could say that like, yeah, you could say like the Ramones started pop punk, but then it's like, what made pop punk what it is today? You know, it's like, if you want to think about what pop punk is today, maybe somebody would think that like Blink inspired that what it is today. I definitely think that they had a hand in changing it from what the Ramones had, when it actually had like a punk style and like a punk look and this like hardcore, I don't give a shit type attitude. And then I think they kind of helped it twist into what it is today with like all the sad boy thing and all that.
The emo subgenre kind of slipped its way into there.
Yeah, definitely.
Also,
and I don't think Blink did that single-handedly.
No, definitely not.
Bringing like the emo in, but I feel like that time did it. Like that time in the early 2000s of like that big roar of that with Blink and Taking Back Sunday and Brand New and all that, like meshed it together to make it is what it is today.
Ooh, don't forget about Newfound Glory. Ooh.
Them too. Oh, man.
Those are the babies.
Why we need you here. And I think there's even been more waves since then. I mean,
oh yeah, definitely.
It kind of died out for a little bit, and then there was like the wave of Fall Out Boy and Good Charlotte and Simple Plan, and then it kind of died down a little bit again, and then like Boys Like Girls and All Time Low and all that kind of died down a little bit again, and Real Friends and Neck Deep, and
it really died down in 2000, like from 2006 to 2009, I want to say. It really died down, and then the whole pop punk thing came around with Real Friends' first couple EPs, and Knuckle Puck started rising, and
I think that's around the same time Neck Deep started coming up too.
Oh yeah.
And now I think it's like exploding right now. Like it's just so much coming out, and I like it.
I do too. I think a lot of it has to do with I feel like pop punk is like so personal, like the lyrics are so personal, and like so many of us, for whatever reason, I feel like this generation deals with so much depression, anxiety, and those songs, especially like the Wonder Years, like that just relates so much to what we deal with on the inside.
This one comes from Danny C.M. Nixon. He says, do you think pop punk has changed for the better since the late 90s and early 2000s? Or are we crying out for a band to bring the old style back?
Honestly, I feel like the most recent Light Years record was pretty old school pop punk.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Produced by Will Yip. It's pretty raw. It sounds almost Dude Ranch era when... like the production value of it. It's pretty raw, and the songs are pretty catchy. Very simplistic too, and that's not an insult.
Sometimes that's the best thing it can be.
There's beauty in simplicity.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think people want it back, but at the same time, I mean, I only see pop punk progressing. Like it's a very progressive genre in the sense that people have mixed it with metalcore. People have mixed it with jazz, like jank, they've mixed it with other things, but I think people will always want the classics back and the old sound.
I think it has to do with the person, because I like a lot more of the older pop punk, and like I know that Paramore is making a new album, and Haley, like her style seems to lean more toward like the 90s. But at the same time, like I love Neck Deep, Moose Blood. They're a little more emo, I guess you could say. But But, like, the new stuff that's coming out, like, I love it, too. So I think it really has to do with the person.
And I also think that it has a lot to do with what bands from that older era you were listening to. Because I think the genre overall had a much bigger presence, like, on a national stage or even a worldwide stage than it does now. Like, overall, I feel like it's much more kind of underground than it used to be. So unless you were listening to underground bands, it's a hard comparison to make.
Yeah.
I would come home from school and watch MTV and see bands like Fall Out Boy on fucking TV,
Yeah.
and you just don't see that now. It doesn't have the same kind of mainstream presence, no matter how big the scene actually is.
I think the only thing that we're like you said, like crying out for the old schoolness is that like newer pop punk bands today don't get the same exposure that they used to, and that's what I feel like the world's kind of trying to make pop punk die, but we're like trying to keep it alive at the same time. And like back then, like every band was so big. Like Fall Out Boy was huge, Good Charlotte was huge, Simple Plan was huge. Like you'd see them in movies, you'd see them in TV shows, you'd see them like they were celebrities. Like now it's like I'm at work and I'm talking to a coworker and saying, "Oh, I'm going to go to the show," and who are you going to see? And you can't even tell them because they have no idea.
But honestly, I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing, though, because the less of a, I guess, mainstream appeal, quote unquote, that this music has, the less it's influenced by the pop part of pop punk.
That's very true.
Yeah.
You look at all those bands and they were hyper successful because like there was a lot of influence, but like pushing into that music from other places outside of kind of the punk roots of what these bands kind of grew up on and what they do.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I feel like the kind of more, I don't want to say underground because it's not, but the less mainstream side of the genre now, it's kind of allowed, more of these bands to kind of do what they do, and they don't have the constraints of having to have mainstream appeal. They're just making music for themselves and for the kids like them.
And it's almost like where's the cutoff? Because say like any newer pop punk band that's around today, like what if they got the same kind of attention that maybe like Fall Out Boy did back then? Everybody'd be like, "Oh, they're sellouts."
Yeah.
Like it used to be. Like I remember seeing like Fall Out Boy on Punked and seeing Simple Plan and like the Mary Kate and Ashley movie. They were always in these big things and part of just normal pop culture. Like you see Benji and Joel Madden dating, or I think it's just Benji, not both of them, dating what's her name? Nicole Richie. Definitely not both of them dating her. Don't spread that.
That would make for an interesting family dynamic.
It would. But you know what I mean? It's like, what's the cutoff? Because if bands get that kind of notoriety now, people call them solids. I remember when Life's Not Out to Get You first came out, a lot of people didn't like it at first. It had to grow in a lot of people, including me. I didn't like it at first. I was like, what are they doing? They're working with Mark Hoppus. They're just 5 months ago, I saw them in a little shitty venue that they couldn't even sell out. There's probably like 40 kids there. Life's Not Out to Get You was like a shock to me at first because it was like, felt like before that they kind of had like a more raw sound and then it came like very polished, but I love it now. But at first it was like, oh, they're sellouts. And I remember being on Pop Punk Kids when it came out. I remember people talking about it and being like, what is this? This isn't what they are. They're getting big, and they definitely had a girl on me. You can ask anybody that's been around on Pop Punk Kids for a while that like remembers back then. I used to hate on Life's Not Out to Get You so much. I was like, I hate Neck Deep's new album, blah blah blah. And now I love it. Like I can't.
Now,
I
if
can't
you
even
say that,
like
it's fucking sacrilege.
exactly. Like I know. It's like the holy grail of pop punk albums now.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of people agreed with me at first.
I guess Life's Not Out to Get You wasn't like that for me because I wasn't really into the pop punk scene on the internet. Like, I'm from like small town Georgia. Like, I know like one person who knows who Neck Deep is, and like he's not even a friend. He's more of an acquaintance. And I was just wearing a Neck Deep shirt like recently, and he's like, "Oh, hey, I like that band," and that's just how I know that he likes them. But besides that, like I was like, this is what pop punk is, Like, so for me, it wasn't like they were sellouts and stuff. So I didn't have that opinion at all.
I feel that way about a lot of a lot of bands, like what you were saying, Kayla, where it's like I wasn't exposed to it in kind of the same way that a lot of people are, because pop punk for me, like even going as far back as like high school, it's always been like a very like closeted, like sheltered love for me, because all of my friends in like the metalcore scene would like absolutely dog me back in the day for listening to like Fall Out Boy or listening to whoever, you know, at the time. And like when I found this page and this group, like people were throwing around names that I was like, who in the hell are these,
Yeah, same.
like State Champs and Neck Deep, fucking the Wonder Years, like all these bands that are like massive in the scene now. It's just like I see these names thrown around. I'm just like, I have no idea who any of these people are. Why are they like, and like
Yeah.
having all these strong reactions to like new singles or new albums and stuff like that. I was just like, I was so out of the loop and just listening to everything with fresh ears. So it's definitely a weird perspective to kind of come from that.
And I felt like I was doing something wrong in my life whenever I heard the Wonder Years. I was like, why have I not checked into them sooner? Like, why? And
No.
State Champs. Oh my gosh.
So the Wonder Years, this is probably gonna get me some hate, but when I first listened to the Wonder Years, I hated them.
Which album?
I don't even know, dude. Like I remember seeing their name pop up somewhere. Like this has been a couple years ago, and I went and I was like, who is this band? Like what's going on? And I went and watched like 4 different YouTube videos, and I was just like, yo, this is garbage. Like who listens to this? And I like it took me so long to get into the Wonder Years, and like now I'm glad that I did. But like at the time, I was just like, "What is this?"
honestly, if it's anything before the Upsides, if you heard anything before the Upsides, I feel where you're coming from. It's very hard to like get into, but anything after the Upsides, you're goddamn crazy.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. It might have just been like the headspace that I was in at the time. Like I just wasn't ready for that kind of music. I guess I don't know.
I feel that.
Like it's so like I said, man. I mean, going through like high school and like my early years of college and stuff like that. I mean, I was very much a part of the metalcore scene. Like I did not listen to very much else. Like that's why the gateway drug for me into this scene was A Day to Remember. It was like, oh, these guys have like cool high energy music and they like breakdowns, but like they're emotional too. That's kind of cool. And yeah, it was all downhill from there.
Okay. CJ Geister asked, Tom DeLonge or Matt Skiba? It has to be asked. I like to avoid this question, but it has to be addressed at some point. We're gonna get hounded with this question if we don't.
I'm gonna humbly step out of this conversation.
Okay, I will be happy to take lead. Okay, so let's go over some pros and cons real quick, okay?
Yes.
So, Matt Skiba, schedule is free, other than, having to be in Alkaline Trio, which I respect. He can sing live. Like, he's very good live. Like, of course, after a bit of touring, extensive touring, that is, his voice is going to be a little out. But, he can still hold himself. He does harmonies with Mark on stage. And on top of that, he can play guitar. Like, he can actually play guitar. And another thing, he was down to record a Blink record as soon as they messaged him about it, or whatever, however they got in contact.
Yeah.
Tom DeLonge, never around. There was always a conflict. Yeah, he actually, sorry, Tom, nobody believed you, but he really was looking for aliens.
Thanks, WikiLeaks, for confirming that.
Yeah, thank you. He was always busy. Another one, he can't really sing live unless it's like ABBA stuff.
Yeah.
And his guitar playing is whack.
A little bit.
And honestly, like early Tom DeLonge, like it's amazing, if he was in Blink 182 again, I'd look at it this way. All right, I'm gonna go see them. Why? Because they have Tom back, and that's just straight nostalgia right there. That's the iconic trio. Who is a better iconic trio? Obviously, Tom DeLonge, Mark Hoppus, and Travis Barker. Now, Matt Skiba, he will never be Tom DeLonge ever. But I mean, if that band needed a respectable replacement, who else would it be?
Yeah, it's him.
That's. I mean, it's it's a matter of opinion, to be honest.
That was so eloquently put. Like I feel
I
like
know
I just received an education.
who needs college.
Hey, we didn't have to
Right.
pay for that either.
I know, right?
You guys know about this. I told you a little bit in the group chat how this one guy hit me up. He wanted me to be on a podcast and talk about my opinions on this. My whole opinion on the new Blink and whatever. Didn't personally like the new album, but I respect them for that album because I feel like Mark and Travis didn't have to do that. I mean, like, they purely did that because they purely wanted to. They're doing fine on their own. You can tell there's a lot of comeback bands that you can tell they're just coming back because they need to make music again. They need a job again. You know, they've been out for so long, and you could tell that they're one of the bands that's not coming back for that reason. They're coming back because they want to make music. And I feel like with all the stuff that went on with Tom and all that, they could have easily just been like, all right, whatever, we're out. Like, there's just too much work, too much frustration. But they pushed through that and made a way to make it happen. So you could tell that they really wanted to do that, and they made the music that they wanted to make. Even though it's not old Blink, you could tell that they're making what they want to do, what they've grown up to make. Like, they've grown into what they're making now. And I feel like there's way too many comeback bands this year that are coming back and they're making what's in now. They're trying to make what's popular now and what's going to sell now. And
Instead of being true to themselves.
Exactly. And I think Blink is actually doing what they want to do.
You know,
I don't feel like they're trying to please anybody. They're just doing them.
I heard a lot of Enema of the State in that album. Like,
Yeah.
honestly. Like,
Yeah.
She's Out of Her Mind right there. That's
Yeah.
great. Like, Enema of the State nostalgia. Like, it was
Yeah.
beautiful. And I'm not only saying that because of their, music video that came out. No.
Yeah.
The first time I heard the album, I was like, holy crap, this is like a cross between Enema of the State, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, and Los Angeles sounded like Los Angeles, San Diego. Those songs sounded like they could have been like, Untitled Part 2. Like, it sounded like it could have been something like that.
Yeah.
But people are, people. I've heard people say, and I've read that people were saying that this album, it's nothing like their old stuff. But honestly, this, like, for the first time in who knows how long, they're
Yeah.
writing this kind of music. Now,
Yeah.
this album was amazing. For me, it was amazing. But the album I'm excited for is the next album, because
Yeah.
they're going to be used to playing this music again. It's going to be amazing for the next album. All the inspiration that's going to come from, the surroundings that they're in, the other pop punk bands that they're touring with, the next album is what I'm excited for. I feel like it's going to be just a masterpiece.
Yeah. And I feel like even though people want to say that they don't think that California is Blink, I don't think they think that California isn't Blink. They're thinking that Matt Skiba, Mark Hoppus, and Travis Barker isn't Blink. It's not the album. I think that's not Blink, because if you really want to say, oh, California isn't Blink, Neighborhoods isn't Blink.
True.
Like,
that's very true.
Yeah, it's like, and that was with Tom, but that's yeah, exactly. That's not Blink. And I feel like there's like maybe one song I like off of Neighborhoods, and it's like, no, Wishing Well. I like.
Well, that was like the most Angels and Airwaves one.
I know, but I liked it.
Okay. I feel you. I respect it. It's a good song. It's a good song.
It is. And I mean, the album wasn't bad.
No.
It just wasn't Blink. Like, it was a good album.
You know
like,
what?
thinking back to the tracks, I like the album, but it's
I'm not
Blink.
even gonna lie. When I first heard that album, I was like, holy shit, that's some Boxcar Racer in there. Like, they
Yeah,
had
yeah.
these huge stadium rock riffs,
Absolutely.
Like, and Up All Night, like, I was just thinking, like, this sounds like something that could have been on, like, the second Boxcar Racer album, if it
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I was really excited for that album, and it's very underrated in my head. And even so,
Yeah.
I still underrate it myself.
It was definitely more just what Tom wanted.
Yeah.
And I feel like, if anything, through all this, it's good that Mark and Travis got to make what they wanted to. You could tell that California is what they wanted to make.
Definitely.
And I feel like even if people don't like the album, that's enough respect right there. I give them total props for that, making what they want to do and not just doing what is expected of them. Like, I feel like Good Charlotte came back this year, and I feel like they're trying to fit in. And I love Good Charlotte, so that's like no shade,
I
but
do too.
yeah, I feel like they came back and they tried to fit in. And I feel like they do that like every 2 years. They try to come back. And they know it too. They're like unapologetic about it. That song 40 on Stream, like they know it.
When California came out, I also remember people saying, "Oh, it's overproduced. Look
Yeah.
at all this pop trash." Da, 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 da. It's like, honestly, you're saying that it sounds like radio pop bullcrap, but
Mhm.
in reality, when has Blink-182
Ever not been.
Yeah.
been it?
Yeah.
They've always written hits, and
Yeah.
you know, it's no surprise that they would adapt to, the mainstream culture, like with the 808 drums and stuff like that. Of course, they're going to have like the most expensive effects. Unfortunately, it showed a little too much, but it's no surprise that they were going for a hit. It's no surprise that they wrote a super, super, super pop song.
Yeah.
I'm not disappointed.
They didn't have that when they were making the hits before. They've got new things to play with and mess around with in the studio and whatever. Maybe they're just trying it out, and seeing what they want and see what they want to work with it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
My only kind of like interjection, now that it's gotten away from the whole Matt Skiba, Tom DeLonge kind of debate, but more just talking about this album in general, like the one thing that I really appreciated about this album is like, yeah, they came out and they were still swinging for a hit. Like they're capable of making music of that caliber, and we all know it. But at the same time, those dudes still don't take themselves seriously whatsoever.
No.
And I fucking love it that they just haven't grown out of that shit. They don't care at all. And it's so refreshing to like still like be trying to make the best music you can, but knowing at the core of your personality that it really doesn't matter.
No.
Exactly.
It's part of being
Like
a
with
kid. Just not giving a fuck.
Yeah. Like the whole thing with like them recreating the video, like I think a lot of people are taking that way too seriously.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what are they doing?
Yeah,
Doing this
for
or
sure.
whatever. They know what they're doing. Like they know that they're just making a joke out of themselves. They know it. It's like, why does everybody have to take it so seriously and be like, what do they think they're doing? Recreating this old video? They think they're gonna make a hit again? They already have hits again. It's like, they know what they're doing.
And
they're not stupid.
I don't think it's a cash grab, honestly. I mean,
No.
These guys are smart. They've ventured into businesses and stuff. Like they've invested their money into smart places. So it's not a cash grab. It can't be a cash grab. I think they're just having a really good time. I love it.
I feel like that video entirely, it's not trying to cash in on like nostalgia. Like it's just purely a shot of nostalgia. Like like we're still the same dudes that were running naked through the streets for a music video like 15 years ago. Like we had like I said, they haven't grown out of it. They're still just a bunch of oversized children.
Yeah. And it's like
it's not a phase, Mom.
Yeah.
Woke up just like any other someone say it's not enough, but who the hell are they anyway? But who the hell are they anyway? But who the hell are they anyway? And I watched my dad and Greta before me as they drank their way through bottles of family glass. Was it cold and patient with themselves? From get off my case to a stay your place, I learned that it's not so simple. To beat an enemy's brick wall and may just be your
All right. Matthew Starbird asks, "What is your all-time favorite pop punk album?" Tough one.
Who's kicking this off?
I can. I think I got it in mind.
Okay.
All right. I have a tie though, but I think I have a winner though.
Okay.
I think, Rob, you're gonna be very upset. From Under the Cork Tree. But it's
like not my favorite, but it is good.
Yeah, it's got like a nostalgia thing. That's the first album that I've it was kind of the second because it was given to me. I was like 6, probably.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
Check the dates. I was like,
oh my God, you were. I feel so old.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And so my friend gave it to me for my birthday, and I just listened to it, and I loved it, and it's just like nostalgia sake. But like my second one that I was tied with was Young and the Hopeless from Good Charlotte, because that was like the first album I ever got. I saw it at like a yard sale, and I was like, "Mom, you gotta get this." Like I was young. I was probably like 5 or 6. I remember bumping to Good Charlotte in kindergarten. Simple Plan in kindergarten. I remember this kid was like singing Perfect on the bus, and I was like, "What is that song?" And I heard it on MTV, and I was like, "That's the song." And I got the name and whatever.
Oh man.
Yeah, those are my 2 favorites. I think modern day, probably that wouldn't even count. People wouldn't even count that as pop punk. I'm gonna get all the genre whores after me. Whatever. I don't care. My favorite album to this day is We Don't Have Each Other by Aaron West and the Roaring Twenties.
Oh man, that's a good one.
My favorite all time ever.
Okay, so I think mine would have to be Common Courtesy, because I don't know if it's the lyrics or sound, but I know a lot of people don't count it as much as pop punk as other albums, or A Day to Remember, period, as much as other bands. But theirs will have to be mine because I heard it for my YouTube, and it was right before they were about to release the album. And like the first time I heard, I loved it, so I just listened to all of them that they had. And about a week before it was actually released, like they had all the videos on YouTube, and so I listened to all of them, and I was just so excited to get the whole album and just have it where I could play it anytime. But that would probably have to be my most favorite. I think it has a lot to do with what I was going through at that point in my life.
I completely feel that. Like, I completely feel that.
So I guess I have to close out this monstrous question.
Yeah.
Oh
wait, no, I never gave mine yet. You go first.
Oh, you didn't. That's right. No, you didn't.
Yeah, you go first.
Oh, I go. Damn.
Yep.
Well, now I was hoping I was going to be able to go last, so I could be the bookend for Shannon's selection. But
you know what? Go ahead.
Oh God.
You can go last. I'll go right now.
We're gonna have this debate now.
All right. Cool. All right. Well,
take it away, Carlos.
My favorite pop punk album. It's crazy. I can't just have one. But
you have to. There can only be one.
I know there can only be one, but honestly, like I'm really caught in between Your Favorite Weapon by Brand New, Take This to Your Grave by Fall Out Boy, Ocean Avenue.
Get out of here.
And any Newfound Glory album, including except Radio Surgery. That was a good
Oh my
one, but
gosh.
except that one.
I love
But
Newfound Glory.
honestly, that's my old school favorites. Those are my old school favorites. But a new school favorite would be Like Pacific, Distant Like You Asked. That one was perfect. But I can't choose one. But if I had to choose one, honestly, if I had to live on a desert island with nobody else around and I had one pair of earphones that will last me for eternity and one album and a record player. Okay. Oh, God damn it. Shoot me right now, please.
Honestly,
I have to make this choice end it all.
Oh,
Fuck it.
He's
I'm
so
jumping in the
good,
ocean with the sharks.
I'm probably going to have to go with Take This to Your Grave because it reminds me of my trip to
Oh
Chicago.
my God! Stop it.
Yes.
I'm so defeated right now.
That
My
album
boy,
is
Carla.
killer, dude. I mean, it kills from the first track. That little what 5-second intro, the phone beeping. They're like, what? A phone is beeping, and it's that low. You turn up your radio, and all of a sudden, dun 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 dun. That's the
Thank you.
biggest intro I've ever heard in my entire life. And the entire album, so much angst. Like, it was like straight pop punk, straight drive, cynical lyrics. It's insane. Like, it's crazy. But yeah, that would have to be the reason why I choose that one. I mean, Brand New, I love Brand New, and I'm saying I love Brand New, but
So disappointed in you.
Carlos.
For those of you that don't
want you-
know, Rob and I
Carlos.
have had many very heated discussions over Fall Out Boy
Carlos,
albums.
Carlos, I just want to say that I love you so much more now.
hey,
Um,
I'm pointing
because-
at you.
Because my favorite pop punk album, and possibly one of my top 3 favorite albums of all time, regardless of genre, is Take This to Your Grave.
Yes.
Like, that album, like you said, man, like right from the very beginning, I remember the first time that I put that on, and you just hear the phone beep, and it's just like, what is, oh my God, holy shit, that's what's happening now. Like, it just threw me for a loop, and I was like so unsettled and uncomfortable, but like hyped up the entire time I listened to that album through for the first time. And it's just the lyrics, the energy, the writing of the actual like song structure, just like that is like, that album just does it for me, just all the way down. If like, I would not be upset if somebody confiscated my entire music selection and just left me that album. Wouldn't be upset about it at all. I don't want to take anything away from Under the Cork Tree, because it's a fantastic album and I love it, and I've worn out that album. It's so good. But I mean, Take This to Your Grave, like, it's just, oh my God, I can't say enough. I can't say enough about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Rob. I have to give it to you because after we had that whole little scuffle there about
Uh-huh.
that, and I listened to it all the way through for you, I will agree that musically Take This to Your Grave is better.
Okay.
But I still love From Under the Cork Tree more.
Hey,
Totally because of like nostalgia, whatever. Being like such a little kid listening to that, having no clue what they're talking about. I don't know what these things are. I was like 6. Like, what does this mean? I don't know. But I loved it no matter what.
Why is he putting notches in the bedpost?
Right? Like, I have no idea.
I feel that. No, it's like part of the Take This to Your Grave album is like a nostalgia thing for me too. Like, Fall Out Boy was my first introduction to this style of music.
Yeah.
Like, and like, I was dating this girl at the time, and like, she was super into that whole scene, and I was just like, I kind of like this, but I can't let anybody know I like this because I'm like, I listen to heavy music and I go into pits and like that. No, I can't let anybody know that I listen to this shit. And and like, but I always had this like closet obsession with Fall Out Boy, and it was Take This to Your Grave and From Under the Cork Tree as well. Like, those 2 albums for me are just like, if I could lump them into one like collective work, then there's no way that anything would be able to beat that for me. like
Dude, if that was a
at
double
all.
album, I'd shit myself.
Oh, bro, you don't even gotta tell me.
God.
Yeah, no, it's great. And like I don't know. I feel like this question for me is like two-sided because there's two like sides to what I like about pop punk. Like on one hand, I do say take this to your grave, but then the heavy side of me really, really gravitates towards A Day to Remember. Like I said, Homesick, or you just pick one and I'll go with it. Even with the newer stuff, like it must be something about Chicago because this whole like sad boy Real Friends thing, like I just gravitate towards it. I've been listening to Real Friends nonstop for the last like month and a half, and I'm surprised that I haven't like cried myself to sleep every night, but whatever. But then like on the flip side of that, like State Champs is like my jam. So it's like going back and forth between like the finer things or maybe this place is the same. That like internal struggle of like, am I sad or am I hype? It really just depends on the day. Sometimes I'm sad about being hype. It's just like I have nothing to be excited for. What the hell's wrong with me?
I think that's where like the Wonder Years comes in. And like we see it in the group like every day, people being like, I need a song for this situation, and they give like a detailed situation, and then there's just like a bunch of comments. Yeah, always.
Yo, I'm about to go into the group tomorrow and like come up with the most detailed, ridiculous situation I can. I'm gonna be like, I need a song for this. Like, I had a dream last night that my dog got eaten by a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and then I was transported to Mars, and I just don't know how to feel about it. Somebody give me a song for this.
So our last question, Ira Cosinas, we're trying, asks, well, she suggests that we discuss how to look or dress pop punk. We think that you should just be yourself. I know there's definitely a very stereotypical pop punk dress and style and whatever, but really, if you're just trying to be that, that's like the most un-pop punk thing you can do. If you're just trying to look a certain way and whatever, pop punk's all about just doing you, not caring what anybody thinks. Like, I think like what Rob was saying earlier with like how he didn't want to admit that he liked pop punk because he wants to be this tough metalcore guy, whatever. It's about just being you and just like accepting that.
Way to call me out. Thanks.
Yes. Embrace your inner pop punk kid.
It's a different thing if you genuinely like the way people dress and you're genuinely asking, hey, how would I dress this way?
Yeah. Like sometimes like I get called out for this a lot because people that know me in real life, they're like, oh, I'm going to take a picture of you right now and post it on Pop Punk Kids and show them that their leader is this lady that dresses like a librarian, because I don't always dress that way. Like I like to wear flannel sometimes and stuff like that and all that, but a lot of times I like to wear like comfy sweaters and glittery things and whatever. It's just that doesn't take away from my love of pop punk or my position in the page or whatever. It doesn't take away from anything.
Yeah, like the majority of my days are very, very busy. So usually I'm wearing like one of the dry fit shirts or a tank top and like athletic shorts, which is exactly what I'm wearing right now is a tank top, that I got from Walmart for like $3 with some cute stars on it and some Nike shorts just because it's comfy and I mean, it's convenient.
Yeah.
So it's just really according to the day.
Yeah, super simple, whatever you're feeling,
A
lot of times I'll wear like cardigans or whatever, and then that's not pop punk. I don't care. That's what I want to wear. It's what I feel comfortable in. I'll wear my cardigan and rock out to some whatever, Story So Far, whatever.
Yeah.
Give a shit.
Yeah. On an average day, like I don't think anybody that doesn't know me would associate me with the pop punk scene. Like,
yeah.
I just don't. Like I don't own a pair of Vans. I've never owned a pair of Vans. I'm not a skater. Like I just no. You just
in the same way. I only wear like flip flops and boots. Like
Vans are actually very uncomfortable. I have high arches and they're so flat. Like they're very uncomfortable.
They are. I had like a pair, like a knockoff pair that I tried to wear at work, and I'm like, these hurt so bad.
My daily driver shoes are fucking Sperry topsiders. Like that's the kind of dude I am. Okay.
Oh yeah, what are your New Balances?
Kayla rocking them New Balances.
Yeah, that's Rob. I have Brooks. I'm talking
Wait,
about
that's
expensive.
me.
Brooks cost
What?
like 100.
What? What are we talking about? Wait, huh?
I definitely think Rob rocks New Balances on his days off.
He does, because I mentioned it one time and he was like, "Oh hey, I wear New Balances, so you better hush." I was like,
Oh yeah, I remember that now.
Oh no, no, I do. I've got a pair of like 510s or something like that. That I rock when I'm at work because they're more comfortable than Sperry's. But yeah, because I'm too stubborn to put like insoles in the Sperry's, so I have to wear something that's got some kind of support. So
Ooh, I feel that.
be on my feet all day. But yeah,
Carlos,
nah, man.
you have no spot in this conversation. You just pop punk as fuck.
yes.
Like,
Khakis,
this
bands,
is.
flannels, button-ups.
But the thing is, I don't feel like he tries. Like he just lives,
No,
eats,
he
sleeps,
just
and
is.
breathes.
Breathes.
He is pop punk.
He is the epitome.
I've gotten that a numerous amount of times. Like, all
Like-
my buddies are like, "Oh, you don't even mean to be, but you are the definition
Pop punk as fuck.
of embodiment of
Always.
punk." And I'm like, okay, dude. Every time I went to a recording session for my band, like, I brought a pizza. Like, I always bought pizza and brought it to the session, only because how else to fuel a bunch of pop punk musicians other than fucking pizza? I mean, it was great, honestly. They enjoyed
That's
it.
great.
Yeah.
Yes. So the answer to that question is be Carlos.
Yeah, just be
Which means-
Carlos.
Be you. You are Carlos.
Channel your inner Carlos when you're getting dressed in the morning, and there you go.
Can we make
And
this a
just
shirt?
do whatever the fuck.
Be Carlos.
Remember when we were trying to name the kid in the Pop Punk Kids logo?
Yeah,
Oh,
It's Carlos.
it's Carlos.
No,
Carlos.
we should like Photoshop his face onto that.
ooh. I look good right here, okay? Like,
Yeah.
Photoshop this face.
That's our next design. Carlos's face on the Pop Punk Kid.
Yeah. All right, I'm down with that. All right, you guys. So we're about to log off. On October 30th, we're going to be releasing the Pop Punk Kids Underground Collection Volume 3. This one's really cool. We picked a lot of our favorite local bands, unsigned bands in this case. We have Paper Planes, Dingus, Hard Feelings, Fourth and Long, and Crooked Teeth, and there are many, many more. So if you're really into cool underground music, I mean, here's your chance to get this for free. There's also two other compilations up there, and I think you guys would really enjoy those too. So this is the PPK signing off.
Pop Punk Kids Underground Collection Volume 3.
Everybody speak at once.
The outro.
We're out.